Hello and welcome to the Summer of Best Ball with yours truly, Justin Herzig. It is finally September. We are 1 week away from the start of the NFL season. I'm feeling it. I hope you're all feeling it. Sad news, though, down to the final 2 episodes, but we've saved 2 of the best for last. So starting off, if you're still considering signing up for that ETR Draft Kit Pro, we know that there are going to be so many drafts going this weekend, and you'll still get that free $10 on Underdog. Comes with best ball rankings, content, season-long dynasty coverage. Even if you already have an Underdog account, you can still get that free $10, no strings attached. And if you're new to Underdog, promo code ETR can still get you up to that $100 deposit bonus. And now, with us this afternoon, the only person to be a repeat guest on the stream. He doesn't need an introduction. You all know him, Mr. Adam Levitan. How are we doing today?
You know, you've done so many of these. I know you said you're sad to see it be over. It's okay. You can tell the people that it's enough already with these, and you're ready to get on to the regular season. It's enough already.
It's crazy. I mean, I remember this feeling, and it's been a couple of years, but that week after the season starts, I just kind of like I got to reconfigure my brain to be like, what do I do with free time? Because before it's like, I've got an hour. Oh yeah, I got to use the toilet. Okay, let me go enter a draft. What do we do now?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't even had a free hour to do that many drafts, but I found the solve, which I can't believe you haven't found, Justin. The solve was 10 at once, because I actually felt like when I did 10 at once, yes, were my teams dusty? Of course. Are they negative EV? Certainly. But I'm going to get the same sweat as everyone else. Maybe I'll sneak one team in or something like that. And yeah, maybe some uncorrelated nonsense that I did while in the madness of doing 10 at once will sneak through. So, to me, it's a no-brainer. I'm not doing 1 at a time. I'm doing 10 at a time.
I mean, I'm curious. 10 at a time or just auto-drafting 150, what is the actual edge there? Like at some point, I mean, I did the auto-drafting of 150 puppies last year, and we had a great advance rate. Like we looked really good. We just struggled in the playoffs because we didn't have any stacks.
Right. Yeah. And that's a good point. Maybe you're right, because the players that I got when I did 10 at a time, I actually liked the players that I got for the most part. It's just like, go back and look at the teams. It's like, how did I end up here? I think we were in some together, and like I had shots at like last round quarterbacks that would have
Wilson
completed a stack, and there's no way I could see it because I was doing 10 at once. So yeah, for sure.
It was too funny because it was the night before you actually did the official one. So it was when you were practicing. And I'm like, I'm going to draft with him. There were like 1 or 2 odd picks early on, but nothing crazy. Okay, whatever. All the time's going down. We'll see what happens. And then, yeah, you must have had, maybe it was Michael Carter, maybe Garrett Wilson. You had at least 2 Jets. And I was like, this actually is going to work. He's going to get a last round Garrett Wilson. And then did not take Zach Wilson with that last pick. And that makes all the sense now when you had 9 other ones going.
Yeah. But I do think like 5 I could probably do. But yeah, I there's certainly some merit in doing that. I think as many as you can handle and still get the stacking going on to try to increase your ROI and try to increase the time spent, your hourly rate as you do these.
Yeah, you guys would like us to do a multi-table draft. You're just trying to get all that edge. JB, I see you. I see what's up. All right. Well, before we start, I actually want to do 2 things. We're gonna review 2 different drafts. First off, I didn't tell you this, but I didn't want to, I don't want to create any bad memories, but we're going to review the draft you and I did together on stream earlier this year.
Oh God.
So
what month was this?
This was early. You were one of like the second, maybe first, second, third guest. So I'd say maybe right after 4th of July. So maybe it was like early July. That's probably about right.
Okay.
You'll see there's a player that kind of tips off when this was. So we went with a unique 3-3-9-3 build. Don't see that often. But Fields, Tannehill, Wentz. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with it. We took Fields a little early, but like not the worst, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at these 3 running backs.
Yeah. Yep, that was at the peak of not the peak, but that was around the Kamara Fudd times with the suspension. And not even Fudd. Like I actually thought it was warranted that there was a good chance he was going to get suspended. But yeah, that looks good.
Strong there. Wide receivers, we've got a couple question marks here. Treylon Burks at 71. Tony at 95 is not bad. Galladay, that's a little scary now. Obviously, we grabbed Will Fuller.
Mm-hmm.
We need some help there. And then our tight ends. We started off with a Gronk, which this is probably the biggest indicator of I'm not even sure what we were thinking. took him above ADP. No stack. Maybe we were trying to get Brady or something. And then Logan Thomas. Maybe this one's a little more optimistic now, but
yeah. I'm sure. I bet you could go back and watch the tape, and I bet I did not want Rob Gronkowski. Shout out to me. I bet you could. Somebody go back and find the tape. There's no way I wanted to take Rob Gronkowski.
Social team ready. Start clipping. All right, so that's one. That's fun. That's fun. But the other one that I want to kind of take a look at is from Monday night. So Monday night we did the $2,500 Mastiff.
Yes.
And so in this we had our favorite heroes, Dink, Silva, and Adam in that 2 spot. I kind of want to talk through, like, what was your guys? Did you guys talk ahead of the time about strategy? I know Dink, I mean, you're laughing. I know Dink at least thought through this. You could hear on the stream, he talked about like how maybe we adjust our strategy a bit. What were your at least thoughts going into this and how you wanted to change from a typical BBM?
Yeah, my thought that was with the 72-person field that I really did not want to worry about a lot of things we worry about in a BBM. You know, if a stack comes to us, that's fine. We're not going to reach first. I do think stacking is still plus EV in a 72-person field, and especially in one like this, you need to advance a couple times to get to the final. But I didn't want to go out of our way to do so. I thought week 17 correlation, which, you know, I think is kind of thin in the first place, was completely absurd to think about in 72-person field. And also some of the things about safety. In other words, like, we don't have to hit the nuts, you know, like you do not have to hit the nuts in a 72-person field to win BBM. You're going to have to absolutely hit the stone cold nuts, like every round of the way. In a 72-person field, like, you can have Naheem Hines and Jonathan Taylor. Like, you can have Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris, because you don't actually have to hit the clean nuts. Like, if one of them gets hurt and you have the guy going off, like, that'll be huge, huge, huge. And so, you know, I didn't really get to convey it that much during the draft. Obviously, like, we're mostly doing it for fun. We're not actually like grinding for strategy and all that when we do these, and we're trying to put on a show for the people. You know, for the small cost of $2,500, we give you guys a show. So we didn't necessarily get through all that. But if I was doing it for myself and I was grinding my cock and I was really trying to win, that's some of the stuff I would have been thinking about.
Yep, I think it all makes sense. I think the key differentiator, so people know, so 12 people in a draft is normal, but 4 will advance out of the regular season. And then from there, I believe it is you need to finish top 3 out of 6 in that next week. Then it's finish 1 out of 3. And then I believe it's a 4-person final. So at no point do you ever need to do really better than top third, because top third for the regular season, top third for that penultimate week, and then top half just for that first week of the playoffs. So I agree. Safety should have been a key point here. And one thing that really surprised me is you were the only team to go 3 QBs.
Yeah.
And you guys almost didn't. Ended up taking Mariota at the very end here, literally the second last pick. There were some strong QBs still on the board just because, like, end of the day, only 25 QBs were taken. That shocked me.
I mean, you know, if you get to the finals and you don't have a quarterback playing, it's obviously a disaster. But the way I didn't want to take 3 quarterbacks, just the way that it's set up. I mean, if you scroll up, we passed on Lamar when I thought we should have taken him. And then we passed on Russ when I thought we should take him. I know you ended up taking Russ. And like, so we were just in a spot where, like Zeke over Lamar just makes me want to puke. But anyways, we had to go 3 QBs. I mean, and I don't even love Mariota. I think Ritter may make starts this year, but there's some outcomes where Mariota, I think, plays better than people think. And if he can sustain, like, Mariota runs enough to where I think he'll actually score for us. Like, he'll actually score for us in weeks for sure.
Yeah, I think it makes complete sense. And so for me personally, my strategy was definitely taking a bit of a safer ride. And so the way to do that is grabbing some of these core running backs early where, like, yes, it limits my strong upside, but I'm not having to hit those low probability for the 0 RB aspects. That's the first thing I did. 2 is I want to make sure in underdog, QB is the highest scoring from a position, from a projection standpoint, from a consistency. So I either wanted to have 3 QBs or grab 2 that I very much liked. And with Russ falling to 100, this just felt like too much of a deal. I don't think I have any Mahomes and Russ combos in the BBM, but for this, I think it helps. And then the other was tight ends. I was either going to be going for an elite or 100% grabbing 3. Most injured position. Again, we're going for that safety aspect in this. And so overall, I think I was pretty happy. I liked your guys' draft too. I like that you definitely went with the QB at the end there. I think going Stafford too, or grabbing that third is important. It was fun. It was a fun draft.
Yeah, for sure. It was a fun draft, and yeah, like we took MVS over Russ, and like I don't think that's right in this format. Even though I think MVS is fine in a vacuum. I think it was like round 9 or round 10 or something like that. Yeah, I think Russ over MVS there was for sure right. But there's only 30 seconds on the clock, and we have 3 people arguing, and so it's not going to be a clean run out.
I know. And I took Sky here. I was thinking I was going to get MVS here and get my backdoor Mahomes stack. But when Russ fell, I was okay with that.
Yeah, I like what you did for sure. Yep.
All right. Let's have some fun. Let's jump in a draft. Let's see what we got going. All right. So as this starts loading, as we're waiting, week ahead, DFS is actually starting a week. Hey, first showdown is a week from today. Big weekend for week 1. What should the people know? What do you guys got going on? What should everyone be planning for?
God, I've been grinding my cock to just have nothing left trying to get ready for this season. I just put out the in-season content schedules up. You can see everything for there. We've been getting props set up, and the props information is out there for everybody who wants to see that. But yeah, season long is fun, and best ball is really fun. I actually really do like best ball even more than season long, but to me, DFS is where we separate as kind of just the premier fantasy game, and we have it understood better than everybody else. And so we're just been working on the DFS stuff for sure.
Are there any things going into this season that maybe were learnings from the past year, things that we're adjusting for this year that you think we want to lean into, or maybe it's more team or player kind of situations? What can we really take advantage of early in the season?
Yeah, from a DFS perspective, to me, I think the next big thing that people are going to talk about in DFS is product ownership instead of sum ownership. In other words, if you have 2 guys in your lineup, they're both 20% owned, your sum ownership is 40%. If you have another lineup combination where you're at 30 and 10%, they also have 40% sum ownership. So you think, oh, it's the same. It's not. And because if you multiply them together, you get a far lower with a 30 and 10. And like we've been going through the data on large field tournaments, and we've found very clearly that top 100 teams that are finishing the top 100 of the DraftKings Millie Maker are using about half the sum product ownership of the field. And so that's going to be a big emphasis for sure.
I think it makes sense. You go with Eckler here?
Yes. I mean, no brainer.
Okay, cool. And here, one way to kind of further kind of explain that is the 30-30, or let's use a more extreme and go 59-1%, where, hey, you've got those 2 core running backs and 30%, like more likely that means about 10% of teams are actually going to have both of those. But if you have a 59% player and a 1%, at most you have 1% of teams that have it. It actually means you have about 0.59% of teams are going to have that. And that's where you're getting unique when you're actually taking that product ownership rather than, hey, just that additional aspect.
Yep, exactly, for sure. And also the situation with quarterbacks. I mean, people are spending up at quarterback. The winners in DFS are spending up at quarterback at a way higher rate than they were 2, 3, 4 years ago. And so I started to do it last year. I mean, I was paying up in cash at quarterback a lot last year, and certainly in tournaments, I think paying up, unless there's somebody like blatantly mispriced, like Tyler Huntley for 5,100 or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like just trying to punt with I don't know, Derek Carr for 5,800 or so. It's just not like it used to be where you could do that and get away with it, because Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Kyler and Hurts and Lance and all these guys, one of them is going to go for like 35 points or 40 points. It's just so hard to get that from a pocket passer.
And I think it's a combo. It's both what we've seen out of the higher end players, the QBs, from just a duality with the ground and the pass game. But also, I do feel like pricing is more bunched together in the past year or two, especially on DraftKings around QBs than it has been before. So other than that weird, as you said, the Huntley, where it's the more injury aspect, and then this also player has that run aspect, there hasn't been the value. Like, it's so much easier to find a value wide receiver at 1,500 or 1,000 less that has a similar range of outcomes than the QB, which is such a more narrow range of outcomes. And there's just not that much different in pricing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I see. I know this is half PPR, but Swift seems like he's taking kind of a back seat to Barkley. All the drafts I've been doing lately, even in full PPR, I've seen Barkley, Kamara go ahead of Swift lately.
Yeah, well, look at that. So we have basically our choice of Aaron Jones or DeAndre Swift. No 17 correlation aspects. hear you on Swift. Is that what we want to do?
I prefer Swift, but I think it's really close. I mean, I would not be opposed to Aaron Jones either.
I'm good with it too. And I've been, I'm still low on Swift on Underdog, very high on him on kind of the DraftKings just from an ownership.
Yeah.
And it just feels like an outlier. And I'm happy grabbing Swift here.
Did that say you only have 3% Swift? Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No,
I know. In this format, it's really not as good. And the DraftKings format is for sure.
My challenge has always been like, I'm a Jamal Williams believer. And like, if we look here, all right, so I'm 10% there. But I was grabbing a whole bunch when he was a lot lower. As he got steamed, I slowed down. So I know at one point I was at like 15, 18% of Jamal.
Yeah.
And that's where like, I struggled. Not that I struggle. I think the likelihood of him hitting that top end range where he actually is getting the high value touchdown touches, is getting those 20 touches a game is just unlikely. And even more unlikely than I'd rather be going, I don't know, early on. You just got that Aaron Jones aspect where I think I was a little more on him early on. But yeah, it's definitely lower than I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a lot of people don't like these RB starts in BBM. I certainly like it in home leagues, though, where you start RB, then you hammer wide receiver, tight end, quarterback, and then you come back to running back later for some of those guys in the 9, 10, 11 range that I like. I mean, there's a lot of them that I like there. And so I know this is maybe not optimal for BBM, but I do think that these are two really high ceiling running backs that we have in Eckler and Swift. And for home leagues, I would love, kind of the RB start.
Yeah. And I mean, you've got to let the draft come to you. And it's interesting, like with the home league aspect, like the whole 0 RB with home leagues, because you do have those waivers and you can kind of adjust. So like if you did go with, instead of a 2 QB, a 2 RB, you want more of the hero style, you can at least play that. Here, like, I think it does like set us up for at least saying like, hey, we don't need to draft a running back for a while. So maybe we end up getting ourselves an, elite tight end here that falls to us to go with a QB. I haven't been getting much Herbert, but you leave yourself at least that option with the Eckler aspect.
Yeah, and we're one pick away from getting Kyle Pitts here.
Oh, wow. There it is. So we were talking about this in Discord and Slack the other day. I have been low on Pitts just because I like so many of these wide receivers ahead. Yeah. But the way that things have been going, I think it's a great opportunity to get Pitts.
We're just balancing your portfolio here. We're adding to the 3% Swift. We're adding to the 3% Pitts. This is just a big favor for Justin's portfolio, so he doesn't have to kill himself when Swift and Pitts are just going off every week.
I got to admit, I mean, I think the Swift really is an outlier. But the Pitts one, ETR, we've been low on him all summer. And
it's just, we haven't been able to, talk to the math bros. We just haven't been able to get the inputs right, because when you start giving Mariota a lot of the rushing stuff and you start looking at what their offense is going to be like, it's hard to get there. On Pitts, there's a chance he's just like a total freak unicorn, and that's not going to come through in the model. And so, yeah, I mean, I've been trying to get Pitts. I agree with you, though, that we've had him like high, but people will start taking him the 2-3 turn, and then it was just like, forget it.
Right. And like, yeah, I'm drafting Andrews over Pitts all day. I've got 13% there, so feel pretty decent about that. And then the other is, we've been very high on Waller, and if I can get Waller 2-3 rounds later, that feels good. I think my other concern with Pitts is this is obviously a week 17, favorite. And like, yeah, you do like the matchup against Arizona, but if that's Desmond Ridder playing, and how long has Desmond Ridder been playing? Like, Pitts could be a monster early on, but that scares me a little for that week 17.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, you got to think about that in week 17. I mean, assuming Atlanta's not in the playoffs, they're very incentivized. Even if Mariota's played well in week 17, they're incentivized to get Ridder a look, to see what they have in Ridder. And so, yeah, that's certainly a concern.
I don't know win totals off the top of my head, but I would guess Atlanta's somewhere around like 7 this year.
If that, yeah.
You gotta include that extra game.
They're not a good team.
Let's see. Falcons. Oh God, 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ryan asked, do you draft handcuffs in best ball? Not clear handcuffs, but Leone did do a bunch of that. Like, not handcuffs like Dalvin Madison, but guys who have like different skill sets. So like JT Hines is one where, like, if the Colts are blowing a team out, JT's going to do really well. If the Colts are losing by a lot, Hines is going to do really well. So I'm okay with that one. I think Leone found something similar there.
Okay. We probably need some wide receivers here. I'll touch on the handcuffs aspect in a second as well. one thing you are not going to get me to do is draft Justin Herbert and get rid of my 0% exposure here.
The full Herbert fade.
That's one that I've been pretty happy with from a strategy aspect, just because of where the stacks are going and stuff. Okay. Wide receiver here, Judy, Terry, reaching on someone else.
I in a vacuum, I prefer Monrod than Judy, but yeah, ADP is really off there. So I guess I think Judy, or I prefer Judy to McLaurin, I think.
Okay. I think Judy's upside is what draws me to him more than kind of, especially Terry. And I think Amon Ra, we could just potentially get at this next pick, or at least later on.
Yeah.
But with Judy, we're making the bet across this summer that hey, Sutton is the guy. It seems like from an analytics perspective, everyone is on board with that. The training camp reports kind of say that Sutton is there. But you do need to play that, there is this range of outcomes. And also, Judy was actually the guy for those first, 4-6 games that he was healthy last year when both were on the field. And so we know what Russ can do to a wide receiver. We know that he's able to support 2 wide receivers. And so from just a upside with that offense, I'd rather have the Judy.
Yeah. And I thought the Tim Patrick injury actually was pretty good for Judy. He'll run routes kind of where Tim Patrick did, whereas KJ Hamler is going to run routes deeper down the field. And so, yeah, I'm okay with Judy. I prefer Sutton, but I'm not as sold as everyone else is that Sutton is just going to dominate. I will say the Bible narrative is majorly in Courtland Sutton's favor. So there is that.
Love that. All right. And so we are taking a look. So, all right, my handcuffs aspect. Yeah. So the backstory to that article that Leone wrote is he and I were just chatting earlier in the summer. And once we heard how big this week 17 is, the 469 people that you need to beat out, that's when started trying to think about how can we get unique, and can you get unique by doing handcuffs? And so the premise was that I think that, hey, traditionally we hate handcuffs in best ball because we want to draft like we're right. But I think there might be an argument that handcuffs could actually give you uniqueness in a ping pong narrative style of the playoffs, where Madison and Cook will use as an example. Maybe Cook has a huge year. He's RB1. His advance rate is the highest. All the teams that are advancing have him. You get to week 17, week 16, he gets hurt. All right, we'll take a draft here. We do not need tight end, wide receiver. There's DK. There's Mooney. I don't think we really reach. We could take a naked Mahomes and stack later. We do need wide receivers.
I naked Mahomes is interesting to me because there's so many guys I like later. I mean, Sky, MVS, CEH.
I don't hate it. Let's go with it. We'll grab that. We do need a stack. We're going to go pretty heavy on wide receivers. That's a good spot to be doing with the Sky and MVS. We did have line of sight to potentially a Russ here, but I don't think we had to lock that in.
Yeah.
We got decent ADP there. And so to close out the handcuffs aspect, where if you were to draft like a Madison and Cook, and as I said, Dalvin is RB1 of the year. He has the highest advance rate. Those teams are then smashing into playoffs. If he gets hurt week 16 or during during that week in between, and now Madison is the guy you need. Well, if we see that people aren't drafting handcuffs, and now Madison, if you didn't have Dalvin, is going to have a low advance rate because he didn't do much during the season, could he be a high leverage, high upside play for week 17? And the answer from a theoretical is 100% yes. Leone then looks into, well, does the math, do you actually hurt your advance rates for the regular season to get that uniqueness? And that's where, Leone was kind of a bit surprised that you don't hurt it for the most part, and you actually substantially help it when you draft it correct. And to your point, where it's like maybe not traditional handcuff, Leone found the best examples were when you had ambiguity in who the 1A, 1B was, and then they come out and take that job. So last year, yes, it's a bit small. I mean, it's small sample size because it's just the year, but Chase Edmonds, James Conner was an example where if you draft them both, you had a very high advance rate, and James Conner obviously found that role. Leonard Fournette as well, absolutely smashes with that ambiguous aspect. And so I think there is do not be scared to draft multiple backs from the same backfield. And if you want to get a little crazy with the examples, I think Hines and JT is a great example because we know Hines can provide you weekly value, but if JT goes down, especially with the recent release of Phillip Lindsay, Hines may take, if not a full role, a substantially increased role because we know he can run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been warming up to Hines so much in a vacuum, but I certainly like having with JT too, I think that's totally fine.
I think, I'm at 13 here. Love getting him more in that 143 territory. Those running backs all in that range is where the wide receivers fall off. I don't need a reach on tight ends, and the running backs I like. It's just the perfect storm of grabbing those, rounds 10, 11, 12 running backs.
Exactly. And like all that's why the construction is so clear to me, where it's early running back and then late, because like Hines, Carter, JD McKissick, Ramondre. I mean, there's so many CEH, CPAT I'm fine with, like Damian Harris. I mean, there's so many guys back here that I'm fine with.
Yeah, I love CPAT. And then it does extend, as you were saying, all the way to this Gainwell, Madison, Carter, Hines. Like, that's a sweet spot for your 0 RB teams. We love a Rashad White.
Yeah, Gio making the team, not great for Rashad White, but yeah.
It's not. But all right, we're coming back up. Still need wide receivers. Love Elijah Moore. Even though he's gotten steam, but
yeah, we've really steamed up Christian Kirk too. But the two I like most there are Devonta Smith and Christian Kirk. I don't think that it's like totally non-zero that AJ Brown outscores Devonta Smith this year. Like, Devonta Smith is so good, man. But I like Devonta Smith, Kirk, and I'm okay with Elijah, but I prefer Devonta or Christian Kirk, I think.
Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna see. We're at 78. I want to hope maybe one of these falls to us.
Yep.
Because we probably need to go running back here, right?
Yep.
All right, so let's grab Elijah.
Wide receiver, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Let's grab Elijah just for the hoping that one of these two fall back.
The crazy thing is that it's better for Elijah if Flacco's in there. I mean, imagine saying that in the year 2022. Like, the longer Flacco is in there, longer Zach Wilson is out, I really think that it's better for Elijah Moore.
I think with Flacco, 100%. I mean, I thought it was hilarious with last year, Michael Carter and Mike White. Like, those are the games when he had 11.
Yeah. Their throw rate with Mike White was so high.
That 1 week, I think he ended up he led the league in passing yards, had at least 3 TDs or so. And that's why we thought, like, okay, this is going to be good for Zach Wilson when he's healthy. But
yeah,
where are you on Zach Wilson now? Obviously, he's a value with where he's being drafted, but like, the New York quarterbacks are just it's rough.
Yeah, God, at least Daniel Jones like gives you some rushing equity, and he has Dable. Like, it's hard for me to see like any paths to like real difference making or even viable starts for Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, the Daniel Jones rollout has been quite sad this offseason.
Yeah,
like, no one can stay healthy. And you think of, like, I mean, so Chicago, we give them shit because they gave Justin Fields like no help. Like, they didn't set him up for success at all. New York, I feel like, was kind of the opposite. Like, yeah, Golladay sucks, but you invested so much there. But you bring in Daboll, you draft Wan'Dale Robinson, even though you probably should have gone for someone like Pickens or something. But okay, so you're at least like giving him these opportunities. You have the rookie Kadarius Toney first rounder who's has that opportunity to elevate this year, and just no one can stay healthy or decides to move like Golladay.
Yeah, it's really sad. It really is sad, because I do think that they do have good weaponry when everybody's out there and 100% healthy, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
It does not.
Yeah, I'm surprised you only have 10% Toney, because I mean, at the beginning when I was doing these, I was like, I mean, Toney was like free. I was just ripping into Toney. Now that his ADP has come up, I've been able to come off it a little bit.
Yeah, I've definitely slowed down, scared myself a little. I think a lot of it was I was grabbing Hopkins because I had so much Kyler, and I still like that upside scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
man, I'm shocked that Dameon Pierce hasn't gone yet in this draft. People assume that Dameon Pierce is the next Adrian Peterson.
But GTO, you can't be drafting someone that we were all getting at pick 141.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's getting in redraft. It's insane how early he's going. I think this is a sharper room. ETR subscribers, there's Stevenson. Wide receiver wise, I think we probably can wait a round before we start going in 91 for the
Chiefs guys.
Chiefs, unless you want to guarantee us both of them and say, hey, grab Sky here and MVS later or something.
Yeah, I mean, you're the stacking bro. I'd be sick if we came out of this without a stack, so I'm fine with that.
We'll guarantee one of them. Hopkins?
Sure.
Renfro?
God, I don't like both, but go ahead.
All right. We'll take Hopkins just for the upside when he comes back. We'll definitely be getting Sky or MVS at the next. What are your thoughts on kind of deciding between those two right now?
Yeah, good question. I mean, clearly early in the season, I think MVS is going to be more valuable. He'll be on the field in 2 wide receiver sets, and they'll kind of rotate Sky in. Long term, I think Sky is just a better player, more likely to be able to handle like a 20% plus target share. I'm not sure MVS ever gets there. Sky looks like the player that could. So yeah, it's tough. That's the thing with rankings. Like it's tough to balance, what happens early versus late.
I've been a little confused by some of the reports out of how they're using their wide receivers. Like, for example, they're saying that Sky Moore has almost been playing the McCole Hardman role where he's just getting these deep balls. And like we've seen a couple of them come up in like highlights and such. But like that's not where I expected him. And if he's playing the Hardman role, is Hardman not playing that role? And then is MVS playing a Sammy Watkins type role? Like, I'm trying to conceptualize from what we've known in the Chiefs offense the past couple years to who they have as actual talent this year. And it's not easy.
Yeah. I think maybe we can throw out kind of the designated roles thing and think they have so many new players. I mean, everybody is new. Juju's new. MVS is new. Sky is new. And so you need to completely redo how you think about wide receivers. So I'm trying to be careful about pigeoning them into roles. I do not think that Sky is in like the Hardman role. I think Hardman is in the Hardman role. Like we have a big sample of that. So yeah, it's tough, but yeah, I do think that Sky by the end will be good.
Yeah, I mean, like I think to week 1, I believe Sky, yes, is the direct backup to Juju. I don't know if that's a question, and I think in drafts the best leverage off Juju is probably Sky. So in this situation where we did not get Juju, I'd want to get Sky before MVS. If we grab Juju early on, I could see myself grabbing MVS, maybe just as like that's a way to kind of cut the tie. But I think long term, we'll have a higher aspirations for Sky than just a backup to Juju.
Yeah. Regardless of all the game theory stuff, I mean, Dameon Pierce in the 8th round is still good. I mean, I know there's a lot of game theory bros out there, but yeah, that's still just a good value.
I hear that. All right. Good with Sky.
Sure.
All right, cool.
Maybe if there's by some miracle of God, MVS will get back to us.
It's possible. With this room, I don't know, but we'll see. So we do get this week 17, Kansas City, Denver, Kansas City. That's working out pretty nice. We love our Kyle Pitts, so we're really not looking at tight end until the end. With Mahomes, probably don't need to wait on do QB. Running backs, we still leave ourselves the opportunity to grab 4, but because Adam and I really like those couple little later round running backs, maybe we go with 3 in those areas to get 5. There's some unique game theory aspects of drafting a running back in the 18th right now, where because we're so close to the season, which guys have not been getting drafted all season. So you've got a much higher likelihood of finding like a running back. Like, I don't know. You want to go with Samaje Perine right now? He at no point was ever like a main draft point. So he's still probably under 10% of drafts. Sony Michel, with now having a chance in the Chargers, like he's still himself probably under that 10% threshold. Couple other guys. You want to go with Lynn Bowden after his signings today with the Patriots. Any thoughts there? Think he has a chance of taking the James White role?
It's just so late, and he was just like such a mess. I mean, the Raiders gave up on him after using, I think it was a 2nd round pick. They gave up on him like right away. Then the Dolphins gave up on him, so I'm pretty skeptical.
Nothing really worked out there. If anything, maybe it should just give you more confidence in the Ramondre Stevenson. Or hey, there are some reports that Damian Harris might be catching more passes this year. I think Damian Harris, and I know we've been on Ramondre, but I think Damian Harris is a fine pick too. We took him in the 2,500. I think it was the 9th round, and yeah, I'm actually okay with that. I like that, even though your guys was the Silva.
Sam.
And I know you're in chat right now too, Sam Chattery. Okay. Bit of a teardrop coming in running backs. There are some still good wide receivers here. Sanders, Patterson, Singletary, Cook. Wide receivers, we could grab Tyler Boyd. Still has such great contingency value.
Yeah. I think it's Boyd. I'm not sold on Rondale, but yeah, I think Boyd is base and contingency, and we need help at wide receiver. I mean, we only have we have 4, but yeah, we don't have Hopkins and Sky early in the year though, and so I think we need wide receiver help.
I agree. And with our strong running back start, I still think we can grab kind of.
Oh, there's so many more running backs. Yeah. I mean, there's so many.
Miles
by the
Sanders,
way, how'd you know that was the draft that you and I did? Do you have every draft that you've done labeled with the person that you did it with so that you can pay them out? Because I am sending you $12.50 after
you are
this.
not. No one has. I'm not. I'm rejecting them all. But you do get invites to the big party that's going to be at the Super Bowl. Waste Management Open Super Bowl weekend. If any of these teams that I streamed hit $1 million, one of those three, then everyone who got in the stream is invited to this big ass party. Overzet calls it a pizza party. I'm thinking we're going with fillets.
No. I'm sending you $12.50 because this team actually has a chance to win.
That's 25. Then you got to pay for the shitty 3 RB team.
Okay, fine. I'll send the 25. There goes Miles Sanders, Devin Singletary. It's just so late. I mean, I don't love either of them, but it's so late.
Silva was so high on Sanders early on. I think it had to do with the efficiency of that, of that running game and the opportunity. Only had the one touchdown last year. Yeah. Expect that to increase. I think Sanders also started dropping with the Kareem Hunt trade news. It's pretty clear that's not going to happen, but his ADP hasn't really recovered from that.
Mm-hmm. Chaos wants his team roasted. He is our Discord member of the month, I believe. He wants his team from 1.01 roasted.
It's always the 1.01s that want their team roasted. Like, I'm sorry, you drafted like literally CMC and then you got like a great Mark Andrews or something. Like, you literally just chose every player you wanted and you want us to roast it. That's your roast right there.
Yeah, some of these tight ends in this range, I don't like taking Komet and Knox aside when you can get guys like Mo Alley or Alberto or Higbee or Brevin Jordan so much later.
Yeah. I don't understand like how some of these I can't.
Oh no, 17% Jasicki. No,
it's not good. And this one too.
Oh, 21% fan. No,
not good. Not good. I've been on the late tight end and I still am. I've been talking it up, but love
Mo Alley.
Love Hig. That's so late though.
Mo Alley.
I've been on the Brevin, but not the Alley.
Yeah.
I don't know. People have been
what about Njoku? You got any Njoku in the bag?
Not much. 6.
Yeah.
I don't know. So for me, with a lot of the drafting for tight ends was learning from last year with Dalton Schultz, Dawson Knox, Rob Gronkowski, all going off because they were all on high passing and efficient offenses. And so I've been more so targeting that this year, except for apparently Noah Fant.
Oh, Fant, my God.
All right, we're coming back. So running back, a little value's falling if we did want to maybe grab like a James Cook or something. Mm-hmm. Or Melvin Gordon. We can keep the stack going with Kansas City, Denver. I'd be happy with either of those.
Mm-hmm.
Wide receiver, we're at a bit of a drop off, but some options. What are you thinking?
Yeah, my favorite would be Dotson in a vacuum, but if you want to go running back, I'm fine with Melvin or Cook. One thing I'd say about Cook is I don't love his initial role, but like second round rookie running back on a good team, just like not overthinking and see he's going to score. We don't know exactly how, but so yeah, I'd say Cook or Gordon if you want to go running back.
Okay. I'm stuck in the week 70 correlation. Make a decision for me. Gordon or Cook?
Gordon.
Okay. We'll take that week 70 correlation. Unfortunately, Javonte Williams got hurt in week 16. So Melvin Gordon will be very unique for us in that big shootout game. So that's fortunate for us.
One thing I'd say about James Cook is like this Zach Moss stuff isn't great. You know, like I thought it was gonna be a 2-man backfield, and now like Joe B, who's like one of the best beat writers. I mean, he is convinced that Zach Moss is gonna have a real role on this team, and so that's not great. But I do think James Cook has like his own role. Again, it's hard to see exactly how James Cook gets there this year, but like he's a second round running back. He plays on the most pass happy team. He's a pass catching running back. Like I'm fine just like figuring it out.
Zach Moss has scared me off of Singletary a lot. And if we think back to what it was like, 2 years ago in the beginning of last year, it was literally drive for drive. This is Singletary's drive. This is Moss's drive. And they just went back and forth until Moss had that injury and then Singletary really took it over. But like all the reports are saying like Moss, they still want to have that role. And then we still have that Josh Allen still steals some of the rushing touchdowns. I love that, the Moss upside and like what he can do in space. And like we saw in the preseason, he looks like the best back out there. But like, is this his year? I don't know. I'm still trying to grab some pieces of him. I still think he could have a Nyheim Hines type role. I just think it's less likely that he ends up becoming the guy when you have a 3-man backfield.
100%.
Yeah. Are you taking any Zach Moss then? Does that make sense as a round 18? It's a unique one, but
maybe as a last round pick. I haven't been, but I mean, I think it's okay as a last round pick.
Yeah. I see like Allen. I mean, I don't know. Josh Allen was throwing to Devin Singletary last year. This is me just kind of from memory and aspects, but like Devin Singletary looked pretty decent catching the balls. There was that one great play on the far right side where he ended up running, I think, for like a 20-yard touchdown with a couple of jukes. He's not the most nimble, but I think Josh Allen will utilize his running backs that way.
Yeah. Miko's still out there as part of the stack.
We can do that. Bit of a reach at 137, but not bad. I hear that Isaiah McKenzie, people were talking, may have some more injury issues we should be worried about. QB, anything coming around here? Not quite. All right, let's reach a little for Hardman.
Sky, Hardman, Mahomes, Melvin Gordon for all the money.
Leverage, right? If you miss out on the top of the stack, make sure you at least get the bottom ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's not crazy that I think that Javonte could be out for the game or MVS could be out for the game. I mean, who knows?
And I have been more riding the grab the running back on the opposing because if you're going for that game stack rather than just going for like, hey, 2 wide receivers, well, now you're actually saying that Russ is probably not going to be the nuts. Instead it'd be Mahomes because Denver's going to, Melvin Gordon would likely steal 1-2 touchdowns on the ground while we're getting all of ours in the air with Sky and Hardman.
People sign up for these drafts just because like they know that it's going to be on stream and they want to be like on stream and drafting against you. Is that what goes on here?
I think 100%. I think that's part of the stream life. You get to, you get to see it. You get to maybe snipe the guy. You get your name called. You get your team roasted at the 1.01. You got Joey in the 1.02. It's the good life.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, how do they even know though? Because there's like a million underdog drafts happening every second. How do they know exactly which one you're going to be in?
They're sharp. Well, so I'm sharing my screen usually when I go into it. And I think they've started to get my rhythm. Usually it's like we go to the 2 truths, 1 lie with the guest, and then they're used to it. I'm pretty sure some people, they're like, I'll do it. And if I miss out, I'll enter another. And then I'll just do 2 at the same time. Because like if Adam can do 10, I can at least do 2. You got to play the numbers game.
Yeah. Ben asked for some more commentary on Melvin Gordon. So I'll say this, like the most likely outcome I think is to start the year is 55-45, 60-40 in favor of Javonte Williams. The difference between them and why they go so far apart is that Melvin is never getting to that 55, 60, 65, 70 range, whereas Javonte actually has, I think, a pretty good chance to eventually, if not early in the year, really separate from Melvin Gordon. And so, obviously Javonte, I think, is a better player. I think the Broncos know that. And so you can see like a lot of paths towards Javonte getting 65, 70% of the touches, which will be a smash in round 3. You can't see it with Melvin. And that's why he goes in round 9 or 10 or whatever.
Now, let me also, though, throw out that Melvin Gordon statistically versus Javonte last year was pretty much a mirror image.
Yep.
And so if Javonte was to get hurt, like I don't believe that Melvin's going to steal that 55, 60, 65 with Javonte healthy. But if Javonte was to get hurt, I think Melvin could very easily be a bell cow back. We know he was still actually pretty good last year. He's still catching balls, fantastic offense. That like he's probably has one of the highest upsides for a number 2 back. I mean, I would throw like him, Madison. There aren't that many that have that much upside. Probably A.J. Dillon. Okay. Rashad White is there if we wanted to grab another running back. I love my Irv Smith aspect here. You can go Albert O.
I think, I don't think Albert O is that different from Irv, and we would get the correlation with week 17. But yeah, I like Carter and Rashad White a lot also.
talk me through. Oh, yeah, we're going to grab Rachaad White. I think Rachaad White has substantially more upside than Michael Carter. I think Michael Carter probably has a higher projection.
Yeah. And in this build where we started Eckler, Swift, and we have Gordon, we certainly can swing for the fences at running back if we're taking more running backs. But this might be it at running back, I would say.
I think at least until round 18. Come round 18, we can figure out what's the best available, whether it is add another wide receiver, find a unique running back. But agreed, this gives us flexibility to stop at 4 if we want. All right, where were we on the Melvin? Oh, yeah. I mean, and so what? Who would you say has the best contingency upside right now of running backs? I put Melvin, I put Madison up there, AJ Dillon, but he's AJ Dillon and Pollard, but they're getting drafted like almost starters.
Yeah, I'd have to go through and look. I off the top of my head, Darrell Henderson.
He's the only one still available. Yeah.
Kenny Gainwell, although I do think Boston Scott's going to play a lot.
Yeah, I'm scared that if Sanders was to go down, Gainwell doesn't actually increase his role that much.
Kareem Hunt would be one, but he goes pretty high.
Ramondre is probably a great one. If Damian was to go down and Ramondre had the full 3-down workload.
Yeah.
But you got to also tie in, like, hey, what is the actual ability of that team? And that's why, in my mind, the Melvin Gordon with the Broncos has got to be up there. All right, our onesie positions are starting to get a little, hesitant. We need to maybe start thinking about we want to fill these in.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many tight ends I like. Alberto, Higbee, Brevin, and Mo Alley, and Njoku are all come to my mind. I don't know how many of those have been taken so far.
Yep, Alberto continues the stack. Higbee just falls so far, 169.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
we got Higbee in the 2,500. That was good. Irv Smith went, by the way.
Oh, what a snipe. That would have been nice for the stack. I agree with you. We could probably still wait if we wanted. QB, there's no stack partners here that we're really building.
Is Wandale still available? Can we get Dimes Wandale still or no?
No, but Kenny Galladay's available.
Oh, what a shot. Kenny Galladay's available. Oh, we're out of time. Pick someone.
Going Jameson. It's a big reach.
Oh no.
We're good.
That's what was happening to me when I was doing 10 at the same time and I was hitting the wrong button. I was getting all confused.
Yeah. Even just that one extra click that was necessary. So that is a downside of being a streamer. We did not want to grab Jameson Williams there. I still love him as a player, and we're playing, we're going to go with a very deep wide receiver build, so not the worst.
I don't love starting with Hopkins and Jameson, though, because now we have two guys that are just dead for the first 6 weeks.
Agreed. Completely agreed, yeah. Hindsight probably would have snuck in I don't know, Henry Njoku.
It's got to be Njoku. Yeah, I like Goff as our second quarterback. I think makes sense.
Gives us the Deandre Swift
and Jameson.
Yeah, that's actually why we were taking the Jameson there. Let's make sure bye week 6 and 8 we're good there. 20% down to Jones. I still don't hate it, but it does not feel good.
No, maybe Kenny Galladay has just been taking it easy in preseason. He's going to turn it on for the regular season.
And what happened last year?
That was a coaching issue.
I think he just got paid and he just doesn't enjoy the game. And I don't know. It's all speculation, but it does not look good for him.
It certainly does not. It's crazy. His contract is so crazy. I mean, he's literally one of the most highest paid receivers in the entire league.
Yeah. And he was so good. I mean, but maybe that was just Stafford.
Yeah.
It is funny, the revelation we've seen on Stafford the past few years that hey, maybe he's been able to elevate wide receivers. Maybe Calvin Johnson wasn't actually that good. Maybe it was just Stafford.
Njoku went. Nice pick there. 13.9. I think it's too late for Mr. Njoku. But I mean, to me, all these tight ends that we're talking about is the reason why I don't end up with Schultz or Kmet or whoever else. I do like Goddard a little bit, but I don't end up with those kind of tier guys.
Yeah. And if I'm grabbing Goddard, it's because I drafted Jalen Hurts early, because you're making a bet that offense is a lot more pass heavy. They're more like the, beginning of last season and the tail end. And in that case, that's how Goddard, makes his value, is actually being a consistent 7 target with some touchdowns kind of player.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I still think we could use more wide receivers, to be honest. I mean, we have 2 that are dead for the first 6 weeks. I'm fine with Corey Davis. I think Sammy Watkins is okay.
Okay.
It's not pretty, though. It is not pretty.
Is it better to grab our second tight end?
Yeah, but I'm sure we can get Mo Alley or Brevin, right? Like, or I like Higbee. I like Higbee the most, and then I would say probably Brevin and Mo Alley close after that.
Okay, let's try to grab Higbee. And remember, with our structure, we're only grabbing 2 QBs. We're only going to grab 2 tight ends. Yeah. We have 4 right here. So if we wanted, that gives us 10 wide receivers. So we know we're at least going to have depth, and we can start at the end grabbing guys like Cedric Wilson, grabbing guys maybe like AJ, like who are going to start at the beginning of the year to help us fill those early gaps.
Yeah.
We do pick our next one's at 174. This is probably where we aim for the Goff, and then it might just be wide receivers the rest of the way.
Yeah. Yeah, the wide receivers late in this are so brutal because everybody is so wide receiver happy. I mean, it's hard to the 13th round for Wandale is that. I mean, that's a really good pick. I like whoever Chad's Toffee is. I know he's in Chad. I mean, Dotson, Chark, Wandale. I like all those guys.
I know it's hard to see, but I love Chad's Toffee. And I think it's Chaos Toffee.
Chaos Toffee.
But Chad's Toffee sounds fantastic. And that's how we're going to go. So there's your roast, Chad's Toffee.
Yeah.
Okay. Big wide. I mean, this is where a lot of the tight ends really started going for that last tier.
Yeah, I do prefer McKissick goes there. I prefer McKissick in full PPR, but 14th round and with the Brian Robinson situation, I think is pretty good on McKissick.
Yeah, he and Mostert were the ones that I feel like in this range have really steamed up. And there you go, Chad's Toffee takes Mostert.
Yeah.
All right, I've got Goff queued up. If we end up getting sniped, other options that are still stack partners would just be Zach Wilson at this point. So, but we know we're going wide receivers, so would maybe have to go with some late goodness, but we could see.
Yeah, I was going to say Davis Mills, Brevin, but we can't take any more.
Yeah, we're done with tight ends. It's fine. Jared Goff's coming to us. Adolik has Jalen Hurts. Adolik's definitely going to snipe us on Jared Goff, and it's going to be so ugly.
Yeah, Arnold's asking about Waller Kittle range. Yeah, I like taking Waller and Kittle, and I think you can make a case that Waller and Kittle 2 or 3 rounds after Kyle Pitts is like, that's good value on those guys. I think when the holdout was going on with Waller, his ADP dropped to a really appetizing point.
Sam, you don't even have any Detroit players. You are literally sniping us just to snipe us. That is absolutely atrocious. We're going to be grabbing wide receiver here.
We need Corey Davis. Set up the Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Zach Wilson stay.
That's what we were planning all along. So, a big thumbs up to you, Chattery. All right, we're taking Corey Davis, which actually fits very well with this lineup, with starting week 1 and 2 wide sets with Elijah. Maybe Garrett Wilson takes him longer to develop.
Yeah.
And we needed that with the Hopkins and Jameson kind of starting point.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So trying to look ahead to where we see Garrett Wilson. These guys all have 2 tight ends. We can grab Garrett Wilson at 198.
You mean
Zach Wilson.
Zach
yeah,
Wilson.
Sorry. Yeah.
And by the way, I like in a vacuum, I like Wentz and Mills and Mariota probably even better than Zach Wilson. It's just with the way this team went, we need Zach Wilson.
Yep, agreed.
That's how you know it's a good team when you say you need Zach Wilson.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes, like Zach Wilson's going to be back by week 8, right? That's what we really need.
Yeah.
As long as that's the case, we should be fine there. Wide receivers wise, there's still that $2,500 draft. The round 17, 18 of wide receivers was as ugly as I have seen it in underdog drafts. I think Dink was referencing this. But it was just very sharp, very wide receiver heavy, only going 2 QBs meant a lot more wide receivers. Normally, I've got wide receivers that I like all the way through through round 17, mainly because of those Cleveland guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with Paris. I'm okay with DPJ. Westbrook Akine is just God.
I'd rather go with Kyle Phillips, even though I've got like none of him, but just from a uniqueness aspect than Westbrook Akine, because I think Phillips will actually play in the slot throughout the year.
Yeah, I think it's Paris or DPJ for us, but
I agree. Let's go Paris here. So I guess we're going to talk DPJ, David Bell. I've been more on the David Bell. I think he's got the more Amon-Ra St. Brown breakout opportunity. How would you differentiate between those two?
Yeah, I mean, David Bell is a possession receiver. Like they're very, very different, and maybe you could argue that short fits better with Jacoby Brissett, who has not been the most aggressive quarterback. But when all the money is down, Deshaun Watson's going to be the quarterback of the Browns, and I think that fits a little bit better with DPJ. But yeah, I hear you. I mean, the unknown on David Bell is more appetizing than kind of what we know on DPJ. We kind of know what he is.
Yeah, guess who drafted DPJ? Like, you guys can gate like YouTube shows, right? That's what we've been doing with ETR last year, right? Can you gate one person outside? Like, if I get you Chattery's IP, can we just make sure he's not allowed to watch any of these in the future? Just no chill in this room, Sam.
Kenny Pickett goes.
I've been liking Kenny Pickett. He looked good in the preseason. I think I occasionally early on I was drafting a bunch of Pickens when he was later. I still end up a little on Deandre or Claypool if they fall. I think he might actually grow into that starting role earlier than we were thinking.
All right, we're into round 17 here. If you want like 50 catches, Randall Cobb's going to get 50 catches.
He could be the number one. Who I really want is Zach Wilson right here.
Well, we're on the clock. There goes Mo Alley. That's a good pick at 17.5 for Mo Alley.
We're going to lock in our second QB here. Get us that big jet stack that we've been really targeting and planning for all draft. And I mean, ADP value, like just a big win. We need to thank the draft room, thank Sam Chattery for giving us this opportunity to stack the Jets with Kansas City.
All right. So we have what is our build right now? 2492.
2492. But let's take a look at those 9 wide receivers. Judy and Elijah, I still really like. I think they're giving us a good weekly aspect with decent upside. Hopkins, Jameson going to be out for the beginning of the season. Hardman, you got to accept a 0 for a lot of weeks. Sky Moore maybe even start off pretty slow. Boyd at least is going to be playing. Corey Davis will be playing. And Campbell's going to start off early on ahead of Alex Pearson too.
Yeah.
But it does feel like wide receivers are need, right?
Yeah. We have data on the 10 wide receiver builds, right? I don't know it off the top of my head, but what do you think in general about 10 wide receiver builds?
It's not great, but doesn't, in my mind, it's not that you then shouldn't do it. It's just usually when you feel the need to get 10 wide receivers, you already kind of screwed yourself earlier on.
Yeah.
So you don't want to go into a draft thinking, hey, I want to get these 10 wide receivers. But a lot of the times people go for 10 wide receivers because they forego wide receivers early on.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. A panic 10 wide receivers.
Right. And I think for us, we're just giving ourselves the luxury. If you go 10 wide receivers, you need to have a 2-4-2 build. And that means you need to have elite QB. You need to have an elite tight end, and you need to be comfortable with your 4. Okay. I like Cedric. I like DuVernay, Cobb. I love Kez Watkins, especially with Rager being traded. I think he's a unique one that could provide spike week.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, they all are dusty to me. If you like Quez, I'm fine with that. I mean, I think they're going to be in very concentrated to the 3, but that doesn't mean there can't be an injury to AJ Brown or Devonta Smith.
Yeah, right. And I think, he still has that contingent value. Before, I was a little concerned that Jalen Reagor, if you got an injury, would play more. With that trade, I think it's now just him and, they got a new guy. Who's been a gadget one, who's been around the league.
Oh, by the way, Eric notes that we could have gone Berrios for the Jet stack.
We could have. I think Berrios is going to start in 3 wides. We were seeing to start the season, and I know he has that, obviously, the bro connection with Zach Wilson, but I just haven't been much on it. Zach Pascal is the other wide receiver in Philly, and But here, I think the uniqueness of getting that player, and he claims he's the fastest guy in the league. Good for best ball. Nope, that's not the right draft. So many drafts. All right. That's weird.
You haven't done any big dogs, it doesn't look like, huh? Or whatever. What was the 300 one or the 250 one or whatever?
I've not done any of those. I'm planning on doing the $500 single entry. I just don't do slow drafts, and it takes, it's hard to find those to actually fill for the fast drafts.
Yeah. I only do slow drafts, so unless I'm doing 10 at the time. Unless I'm doing 10 at the same time.
That's good strategy. All right, let's get a quick refresher. This isn't the team either. It hasn't loaded up in the
well,
draft.
The draft wasn't over yet, yeah.
Well, yeah, it kicked us out, though. All right.
Yeah, now it should be over.
It's still not there. All right, well, we're not able to show you. It's not an active, completed.
No, you had 140. It should say 141.
Yeah. Let me do a hard refresh here. There it is. Okay. All right. Talk us through, Adam. How do you feel about this draft?
I mean, I think in half PPR being light at wide receiver like that is more okay than normal, even though it makes me sick. The problem is that in this format, being not great at wide receiver when you need that like volatility from the wide receiver, elite wide receiver positions like propel you to the top, that scares me. So yeah, I would say probably not my favorite. I certainly don't like having Hopkins and Jameson on the same team. So yeah, I would say I would give us a C.
Let's see. That Jameson pick was bad. We really ran out of time. Who could we have gotten? The wide receivers really were ugly there. The picks off the board after were Robbie, who we're now scared of, Galladay, who no. Pierce, Van Jefferson, Corey Day. That was tough. I don't even know what we would have done. We liked Tyler Higbee here. We didn't really miss out on that. He's stunned, gentlemen. He doesn't know.
I have golf people sending me messages that we're doing the golf show. I mean, this is just out of control. I mean, how many things can I handle at once? It's unbelievable. But yeah, no, I don't know, man. I don't know. You probably don't have too many 10 wide receiver build teams. It just doesn't seem optimal to me. I do like the teams that have 2 wide receiver and 2 tight end though. But in those teams, I think having really elite stacks makes more sense. And unfortunately, we didn't get Kelsey or Juju as part of our stack. And obviously the Jet stack is thin. So
yeah, overall, definitely tough. I think we missed the boat a little on the wide receivers. Trying to think where we would have adjusted. Maybe instead of Melvin Gordon, we would have grabbed a stronger wide receiver and then gone with 5 running backs, but 2 later ones to give us at least another stronger wide receiver. Where when we went Melvin Gordon, we could have grabbed Garrett Wilson, Josh Palmer, Jahan Dotson. We were talking about Dotson, so maybe that would have made us feel a little better.
And also because look how late Michael Carter goes, and look how late J.D. McKissick goes, and those guys. I'm not sure that Melvin Gordon is, and the contingent value on Melvin Gordon is clearly way, way better, but the base value I don't think is that much better.
Agreed. Carter 2 rounds later is a good one there. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get you over to the golf stream. Chat, thank you for joining us all, except for you, Sam. Sam, get out of here. We don't, no. He was my Washington run. Stop it. Just get out of here. This has been fun. Week ahead, what can they expect? What do they have going on? Tell the people where they can find you, Adam.
Yeah. Well, you guys, hopefully you read the props thing and hopefully you read the in-season thing and check all that out. And I'm going to give a big thanks also to Justin for doing these all year. Doing 2 streams a week live is certainly a grind. And he's gotten a lot of people to watch these, which is a testament to just how interesting it is and how sick you guys are. So yeah, thanks to Justin for doing these all summer.
Cheers. I appreciate it. But no, it's definitely a testament to the people, how much they enjoy. You guys shock me how many watch it live, how many watch it after the fact. And testament to Underdog is best ball has just blown up. It's amazing. This has been really fun. One more stream to end the summer. Peter Jennings joining us on Tuesday. Should be a fun one. One of the first guys that I was drafting high stakes with back in the draft days. And we've got a lot of good conversation that we want to get to. So Adam, thank you for joining us. Chat, it was great. You all were fantastic, almost all of you. And we'll see you all next week. Later.